Okay, so picture this. May 2025. The news hits, and it stops everyone cold. Hollywood, Wall Street, fashion.
Everyone.
Yeah. Barry Diller, media titan, billionaire, 83 years old, and he drops this absolute bombshell in his new memoir, Who Knew?
The bombshell being he publicly declares he has always been gay.
It just...
Wow.
And the context here is crucial. You really need to grasp this part if you're just catching up. This admission.
Yeah.
It comes 24 years into his marriage.
Not just any marriage to Diane von Fürstenberg. DVF, an icon.
Exactly. One of the most visible, celebrated women in the world. So this isn't just, a typical marriage. It's this half-century-long partnership, and it's always been non-traditional.
Welcome to Stirtscope Report. Join us as we break down the Hollywood drama, the industry shakeups, and, well, the incredible strategy behind the headlines.
And today we are diving deep into what might be the ultimate story of narrative control.
That 50-year, very unconventional love story of Diller and von Fürstenberg, and really how they masterfully managed the rollout of this deeply private, potentially explosive piece of news. It's fascinating because this wasn't just a confession, was it? It feels so calculated. We're not just talking about a celebrity coming out. We're analyzing, like, a corporate and romantic strategy all rolled into one.
We really are. We'll get into Diller's own words about the suffering he experienced by hiding his sexuality.
And then DVF's reaction. Fierce, protective, dismissive even, calling the questions stupid.
Right. And how they really together managed to redefine unconditional love for an audience that's maybe used to simpler labels for relationships.
Okay, let's unpack that. The calculated revelation. It all starts with the memoir, Who Knew? Simon & Schuster, May 2025.
And right away, the framing is key. It wasn't just sold as, Barry Diller, My Life in Business, even though he founded Fox, led IAC, Expedia, massive stuff.
No, the publisher, Jonathan Karp, was very explicit. He pitched it to the media as an unconventional love story. That phrase sets the tone immediately.
Super intentional framing, right? Because if they'd just put out a press release, Barry Diller says he's gay, think of the reaction.
Oh, total shock. Immediate speculation about the marriage. Was it fake? What did DVF know? Chaos.
Instead, they embed the core revelation, I have always been gay, inside a bigger story. It comes out in this strategically released excerpt, New York Magazine.
And it's placed within the narrative of his whole life and, crucially, his marriage.
The phrasing he used really struck me. He didn't just say, I'm gay. He connects his identity directly through the marriage.
What was the line?
He wrote, while there have been a good many men in my life, there has only ever been one woman.
Ah, yes. That's the linchpin, strategically speaking. It basically says, my sexuality and my marriage, they aren't contradictory.
It completely preempts the lavender marriage label or the idea she was just a beard.
Totally, because he asserts her absolute primacy in his emotional life. Forget the labels, he's saying, my marriage is real, full stop.
And then to really seal the deal, public sympathy-wise, which, let's face it, Killer Diller wasn't always known for inspiring sympathy. He details the decades of internal struggle, the suffering, the terror of exposure. He talks about coping by, compartmentalizing.
Locking it away, putting it into a distant box. That's the quote.
Yeah. And that vulnerability, that admission of pain, it shifts everything.
It really does. The calculating titan suddenly becomes human, a product of a repressive time. You can almost feel the public thinking, oh, okay, I get it now.
It buys him instant goodwill, right? And importantly, it redirects the focus away from scrutinizing DDF and towards, the historical context that made his secret necessary. It makes him relatable, almost.
And we should probably mention, this wasn't exactly a shock to everyone. Inside certain circles, New York, LA, it was kind of an open secret for decades.
Right. But an open secret is one thing. A formal declaration in a major memoir published by Simon & Schuster, that's different. It's authoritative.
It turns rumor into fact. Like DVF said later, it wasn't coming out, it was just telling the truth.
Which brings us right to DVF, because the second that excerpt hits, boom, all eyes on Diane von Fürstenberg, wife of 24 years.
You can just imagine the tabloid headlines brewing. Was she clueless? Was she a victim? Was the marriage a sham?
Her response, though, immediate, fierce, and incredibly protective. The message was crystal clear from moment one. This changes nothing.
Nothing about their marriage. And she didn't just, issue a statement. She went on the offense with this counter-narrative.
Her main tactic seemed to be pure dismissal. She gave this interview to Variety, Very sharp, very quick.
And when they asked the obvious question, what's it like being married to a gay man?
She just shut it right down. What's the difference? And then called it a stupid question.
That annoyance, that palpable irritation, it was so powerful and, very strategic.
How so?
Well, by calling the question itself stupid, she rejects the entire premise. She refuses to be cast as the victim or the partner in some kind of arrangement marriage. She stays the woman in charge. It preserves that image perfectly.
And she didn't stop there. She didn't just dismiss it. She, broadened the whole thing out to normalize it for herself.
Okay, this is the part that was just incredible. The quote she dropped.
Go on.
She tells Variety, totally matter of fact, I married 2 gay men. Okay.
Whoa. Casually throws that out there.
Casually. A total mic drop moment. And think about what that does. She's referencing Diller, obviously, and her first husband, Prince Egon von Fürstenberg, who was bisexual.
So first it makes it sound like this old thing. Yeah, been there, done that. Not a crisis.
Exactly. Familiar pattern, not some shocking new development. Second, it underlines her whole persona, cosmopolitan, sophisticated, rejecting what she called rigidly defined lanes for sexuality.
It puts their lives way outside those simple boxes the public loves.
And then the kicker, the final assertion of intimacy over public labels. To me, they're not gay.
Wow. So she's saying whatever label you want to use, my personal connection, this 50-year bond with him, it's bigger than that. It makes the label irrelevant to us.
Which is how they land on their central theme, the thesis statement for the whole relationship, unconditional love.
DVF really hammered this home later, didn't she? October 2025, right in the middle of the book tour buzz.
Yeah, on Instagram. Celebrating 50 years since they first met, she called it a long, colorful, happy journey of unconditional love.
That word, unconditional, it feels very deliberate. It's aimed right at the public's unspoken question. How can you love him if he's gay?
And her answer, backed by 5 decades of history, is essentially, my love was never conditional on his orientation. Or on societal norms, for that matter.
They really buy into that unconditional claim. You kind of have to look at the timeline of their relationship because it's so not linear.
Right. This wasn't, meet, date, marry in their 20s. They met way back, 74, 75 maybe.
And DVF called it a coup de foudre, lightning strike. Instant attraction.
And it wasn't just attraction, it was a real explosion of passion, a proper romantic affair for about 5 years.
And Diller makes a point of mentioning this in the memoir, right? The intensity of that early physical connection.
He does, explicitly. To shoot down the whole beard theory, he insists their physical relationship back then, its biological imperative was as strong in its heterosexuality as anything else.
He even mentions gifting her 29 diamonds for her 29th birthday. Very specific detail to emphasize the romance.
Definitely. But maybe the most important part for understanding the unconditional angle is what happened after that initial romance cooled off.
Right. She dated other people, famously Richard Gere, for a while.
She and Diller stayed incredibly close, deeply involved in each other's lives, but as friends for 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
From roughly 1981 to 2001. That's the crucial period.
That 20-year friendship is the foundation. Because when they finally did get married in 2001, they were in their 50s. It was DVF's idea, apparently.
And they went into it knowing absolutely everything about each other, the good, the bad, the successes, the failures, the sexual nuances.
They weren't marrying some idealized image or hiding anything. They were marrying their shared history, their deep friendship.
So the unconventional timeline actually strengthens their case, doesn't it? It shows the marriage was this conscious, mature decision built on loyalty, acceptance, not some useful cover-up.
Exactly, which allows Diller to write, completely credibly, that their relationship is the bedrock of my life. Because that bedrock wasn't just romance, it was 2 decades of platonic loyalty first.
And zooming out, you see this wasn't just one event, the memoir reveal. It feels like a 2-act play they co-wrote.
Oh, definitely. Act 2 is the 2025 memoir, the interviews, DVF's responses. But Act 1 was crucial groundwork.
You mean the Hulu documentary from 2024? Diane von Fürstenberg, Woman in Charge?
Precisely. Launched before anyone knew the memoir Bombshell was coming. And what did that documentary do?
It cemented her identity, icon of strength, resilience. It traced her story back to her mother, the Holocaust survivor.
Taught her fear was not an option. And crucially, you could never be a victim.
So that documentary acts as like an inoculation.
Totally. It pre-frames her 2025 reaction. When she dismisses the stupid question, the audience is already primed to see it not as denial, but as exactly what a woman in charge who refuses victimhood would say.
And Diller was in that documentary too, wasn't he? Showing that united front months ahead of time. Very clever.
Very. Then, after the memoir release, Diller does the rounds. Big interviews. Wall Street Journal opinion, MD meets.
And the goal there seemed to be intellectually defending the whole situation, addressing the, quote, sexual nuance of being gay while married to a woman.
And his main line of defense was maybe the most interesting part of the whole strategy. He deliberately rejected simple labels.
Specifically bisexual. He called it a dangerous word. Why dangerous? What was his thinking?
Well, my read is he felt bisexual comes with too much baggage, too many public assumptions, maybe stereotypes about indecision or something. He saw it as reductive.
So instead, he argued for, what was it, a spectrum of sexual fluidity.
Yeah.
Nuance.
Exactly, trying to elevate the discussion beyond those easy categories.
And he kind of used it to critique American culture too, didn't he? Saying Americans like to put people very firmly in Camp A or Camp B.
Right, contrasting it with what he called a healthier European perspective, which, let's be honest, also positions their relationship as something more sophisticated, more evolved than your average messy tabloid story.
It's quite the intellectual defense.
Ultimately, when you look at the whole thing, the Diller DVF revelation, it's just a masterclass in radical transparency, but completely on their terms.
By putting everything out there themselves, his sexuality, her strength, their history, the passionate past, the long friendship.
They leave nothing left to be exposed. There's no angle for critics or the media to dig up and sensationalize. They make themselves invulnerable in a way.
It's more than just surviving a potential scandal. Their co-authored story ends up redefining what a modern marriage or maybe just a deep partnership can look like.
Yeah.
One based on loyalty that goes beyond orientation or convention.
It really is a triumph of controlling your own narrative.
And Diller himself wrote the perfect final word on it all, didn't he? Summing up their unified stance against decades of speculation.
Yeah, addressing all the rumors and whispers over the years, he just wrote, "We know, our family knows, and our friends know. The rest is blather."
Mic drop. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.